We know who won the big game, who won the battle of the ads. 100 million people were watching last night. This morning, we are joined by Wall Street Journal advertising reporter Suzanne. Vranica, she is here. You guys conducted an overnight poll to find out who the winners were.
Well, during our calling last night, it looks like Snickers with Betty White definitely stole the show.
Definitely my favorite. Let's take a look.
Mike, what is your deal, man?
Come on, man. You've been riding me all day.
Mike, you're playing like Betty White out there.
That's not what your girlfriend said.
Baby.
Use Snickers. Better?
Better.
I'm all bet!
That hurt.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
Boy, that worked.
Yes, Abe Vigoda is still alive. That's what most of the people we called last night kept saying, is Abe Vigoda really alive? Anyway, it turns out this is a great comeback story for Snickers. Last time they were in the Super Bowl, ad went awry and they had to pull it. It was basically two mechanics that end up eating and sharing a Snickers ad and kiss. And then it turned out to be anti-gay. So this is a really great comeback story for Snickers, the Mars-owned company. Comedic violence always wins during the Super Bowl, hands down.
I wonder why.
Because we're in a violent mood. I think that's what it is, right? I was at a Super Bowl party and everybody was buzzing about the Letterman ad. Let's take a look.
This is the worst Super Bowl party ever.
Now, Dave, be nice.
Oh, he's just saying that because I'm here.
Oh, he's just saying that because I'm here. Now, technically, that wasn't an ad. That was a promo.
It was a promo.
Right,
but CBS has a long history of doing this. They always surprise us and steal the show. If I was an advertiser, I would be upset because they pay all this money to get all the morning buzz. You know, if I'm Anheuser, everybody's talking about CBS instead of the Anheuser commercials. Classic ad. Letterman, I mean, what a great story. And I think people we called last night were saying this is great for Jay Leno's image. It looks like he can sort of make fun of the situation. He was taking a real hit in terms of his publicity, you know, his popularity and his PR. And I think this was a brilliant move on his part.
Yeah, no doubt that helped, and David Letterman makes everything better. I didn't think the ads were stellar this year. I didn't sit there and go, wow, all these ads are great, but what ones really flopped?
I think the problem is Madison Avenue's under pressure, right? We don't know the mood of the country. It's so hard to read. You know, one day we're saying there's a recession, the next day we're saying we're coming out of it. So the one that I think really flopped was Taco Bell.
Box. It rocks, it rocks. It rocks for a meal with lots and lots. It rocks for a jock, it rocks for a fox. It rocks blocking shots on guys with dreadlocks.
What comes in this box that rocks?
A cheesy gordita, crunch too much.
We all scream for Burrito Supreme.
Crunchy taco and cinnamon twists, both on the list. And wait, let me think, an ice cold drink. That is lots and lots in just one box. It is only $5, and that's why it rocks.
Yeah, just lacking a little energy somewhere in it.
We just expect more. You got Charles Barkley. He just didn't come off well. A lot of the experts we talked to said, you know what, Taco Bell just didn't show up.
How about Anheuser-Busch? You said they might be a little upset they're not getting the buzz, but how did they do overall?
You know, they're the king of Super Bowl. 5 minutes of ad time. They spent a fortune, millions and millions, and they didn't sort of show up. They did okay, better than last year, but I think the new owners definitely have a little advertising problem. The Lost ad did well. They ripped off Lost and seared right into that headline. A lot of people we called, you know, viewers were saying, you know, some of the fun was back. The Clydesdale ad, which is usually really
like
high,
that one, though.
It wasn't up to Clydesdale snuff, and they were back and forth with if they were going to run it, and at the last minute they decided to run it. Well, I think the horse should have stayed in the barn.
Well, last year the recession really changed the tone. Do you think it's really come back enough this year, or is it still like we're kind of in limbo?
I think this year's Super Bowl advertisers tried to be at least more funny, but you still definitely saw a lot of promotion. You had the Denny's ads that were talking about the free Grand Slam breakfast, which did really well, a bunch of screaming chickens. You know, but the problem is you got advertisers that are afraid to waste the money. You're talking 2.5, 2.7 million for 30 seconds. So they're trying so hard, and that's what happens. They over-try.
Trying too hard.
Yeah, some of the ads just took a long time to get anywhere.
How about Tim Tebow? All the buzz going in was about that focus on the family ad, but coming out didn't score all that well?
Well, the problem is it doesn't matter what it looked like, right? They got all hundreds of millions of worth of free publicity, and they didn't have to talk about abortion.
But what did the audience think in the polling overnight?
The audience were sort of like, hey, was this what the controversy? They were surprised. They were like, this is nothing. What's the big deal? And I think a lot of people were just like, oh, you know, media craziness over absolutely nothing. But for that organization, what a Super Bowl story. They got hundreds and hundreds of millions
so you
of
think,
people.
and for days. And for days.
Weeks. They dominated the headlines for weeks. I think we will. I think advocacy groups basically say this is the opening for them to get into the Super Bowl. It's going to be a tricky situation for the next couple of Super Bowls, definitely.
We'll see if they can come up with the money. Thank you very much. Fascinating
Thanks
stuff
for
this
having
morning.
me.
Which ad was your favorite? Tell us on our shout-out board at abcnews.com.